As I've stated before in a previous video, I felt that at the time, during this period of the WWE, 2005 was a really crucial year for the WWE. Once again, you were trying to establish some new stars because all the other guys that you had during the Attitude Era were either, getting up there in age or completely retiring, and you had the one big guy that they had, Brock Lesnar, who left for the UFC. I'm sorry, for the NFL at the time. Sorry about that. Eventually he screwed up his career in the UFC. But anyway. Like I said, this year in 2005 was really crucial. And other than that, WrestleMania 21 was a really good show. It was a really good show. At a time when WWE needed to establish new stars, WWE did that here at WrestleMania 21 with one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time, one of the most underrated pay-per-views of all time, and honestly, one of the top 10 greatest WrestleManias of all time. Some of you might put it in the top 5. I don't really put it in the top 5, but I'll put it in number 6 or 7. That's not bad. Really underrated pay-per-view with some really damn good matches. You look at the first 3 matches of this card. You open up with Guerrero Mysterio. We've seen so many matches with these two. I love watching them go at it all the time. They both had really good chemistry, and there wasn't really a big story going into this. This was just 2 guys having a match. A really solid opener. Really good opener. They both did tremendously well. It's just a shame that, unfortunately, Guerrero is no longer with us, and Mysterio is no longer with us in terms of being in the WWE. Then you had the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 21 with Jericho Benoit. Well, Jericho created this match. You had Benoit Christian, you had Shelton Benjamin, you had Edge, and you had Kane. Really good match. Probably the best Money in the Bank ladder match, considering it was the first one. And they did so many unique things that I thought that this deserves the title of best Money in the Bank ladder match. You had Shelton Benjamin had a little bit of a shine. You had Christian had some heelish moments, which I found were really good. You had some stuff mixed in with Benoit, which was pretty good. You had Edge being the sneaky guy, coming in and winning at the end, kind of playing into that ultimate opportunist character. A lot of this match worked, and the finish worked perfectly. You were trying to establish Edge as the next big heel, and you had him win in a cheating way, establishing him as a big heel, and having him win Money in the Bank ladder match. Again, at a time when WWE was trying to establish some new stars, Edge really shined in this match. And Edge deserved the win. You weren't forcing him to the top right away. You were kind of giving him some breathing room a little bit until he eventually cashed in January of 2006. A really solid match, and a memorable match. And the next match was even more memorable. You did so many things to screw up Randy Orton in 2004 by turning him face, forcing him to the top with the world title, and then burying him back down when Triple H beat him during the Wrath of God from 2002 to 2004. Now you have this match against The Undertaker. A really good match. And it really helped save Randy Orton's career, in my opinion. Because what they did in 2004 was just a big force. And what they did in the early part of 2005 was completely buried him. The Undertaker is what saved Randy Orton from being known as one of the biggest flops in the history of WWE. I think that once Randy Orton got this match with The Undertaker, he was fucking set. And he was going to do tremendous things in the future, and he's done some tremendous things. Am I a huge fan of his? No. But I will admit that he has done some really good things in the WWE during the time that this match took place. And this entire feud lasted a year. They main evented a pay-per-view. Was one of the featured matches at 2 Big 4 pay-per-views. That's a huge step in the right direction for Randy Orton. And this match was really damn good. I thought that The Undertaker winning obviously was the right move. I didn't think Orton was that good enough to, break the streak at the time. This was also one of the first moments where the streak was actually becoming a thing. Back in the early part of Undertaker's career, nobody acknowledged the streaks other than the occasional, oh, he's 9-0 or 10-0. Now this was The Undertaker. The streak became The Undertaker. Now, I don't necessarily like that, but it kind of worked. It really kind of worked. And this match really worked. Again, Undertaker went over. He should have. Randy Orton, that's a huge, huge knock on his belt. That is a huge, huge honor for Randy Orton. Because, like I said, Undertaker saved Randy Orton, believe it or not. Then you had the women's title match. Worked as a really good space filler, even though the match itself was kind of Trish Stratus and Christy Hemme, to me, are both absolutely stunning and gorgeous. So I think that this match worked for us gentlemen. Then you had probably the best match of the night, and maybe one of the most underrated WrestleMania matches in history, and that is Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels. Not a big story going into this. It didn't need to have a story going into this. Just two guys going out there having a wrestling clinic. All you need. Set, done, plain and simple. Every WrestleMania should have a mid-card match like this. Every WrestleMania should have just a match like this, no matter where it is on the card. No story, just two guys going out there and having a 5-star classic. This match, to me, was a 5-star classic, if you could believe that. And then you get to one of the worst ideas in WWE history, the sumo match between The Big Show and Akebono. At no point did I think that Akebono was going to lose. And at no point did I think that this match worked. It didn't. They had Big Show go out here and look like a fool. They had Akebono come in the sumo world, maybe just to attract some attention from the Japanese people on the WWE. So if you did it for that, that's fine. But that's not really a good way to utilize Big Show. I'm sorry. Big Show has done a lot of good things in the WWE. He's also done some really embarrassing things in the WWE, and this sumo match was one of them. It's definitely not as bad as him against Floyd Mayweather, but it's pretty bad, if you get what I'm saying. It's really, really bad. Then you get to a couple of matches that, people look back on, and for some reason they don't like. And I get it from an in-ring quality standpoint, which is what everyone judges these days. These two matches weren't the best, but they didn't need to be, and I'll explain why. First match, Cena JBL for the WWE Championship. This match's only goal was to establish a new star. And that's exactly what it did. John Cena had this long journey. He came in second in the Royal Rumble. He had the match with Angle, the qualifying match. He had this really good feud with JBL. And he had this match against JBL winning the WWE Championship. It's what needed to happen. And it may piss a lot of you off, but it is what needed to happen. You needed to establish two new baby faces going forward. And you also needed to establish two new heels going forward. And you did that with Edge and Orton. Now it's time to establish the baby faces. And you established John Cena here with this match against JBL. Granted, the match sucked. It was not that good. I'll give you that one. But at the same time, the feud worked. The decision worked. The finish kind of worked. You know what? I can't complain about it. The match may have sucked, but I can't complain about it. I get what the WWE needed to do, and they went out and did it. And the same could be said for the main event. Batista versus Triple H for the world title. The only purpose of this match was to establish Batista as a top babyface in the company. You needed a top babyface for Raw, and you needed one for SmackDown. Cena was SmackDown, Batista was Raw. Eventually they switched. But like I said, you needed these two guys to be established as your top guys. This match was definitely better than the WWE title match. I thought that the feud worked. I thought that the match worked. I thought that the finish worked. You added some juice in there, which I like too. Flair trying to interfere, I thought that worked too. Oh no, don't have Batista have this moment. It's all about you, Triple H. It's all about Triple H. I like that element of having Ric Flair there. And everything about this match really worked. But again, it didn't need to really work. It didn't. All it needed to do was establish a new star, and that's what this show entirely did. It established Edge as a top player, established Orton as a top player, established Batista as a top player, and I'm sorry to say, IWC, it established Cena as a top player. This show will be memorable. It's very memorable for me because it's the first pay-per-view I ever the first WrestleMania I ever ordered. I go back and watch it, and I freaking love it. I bet you should. I bet you will too.